বাসনা নৃসিংহ চরণে মোর এই তো কামনা কান্দিয়া নৃসিংহ পদে মাগিব কখন নিরাপদে নবদ্বীপে যুগল ভজন কান্দিয়া নৃসিংহ পদে মাগিব কখন নিরাপদে নবদ্বীপে যুগল ভজন ভয় ভয় পায় যার দর্শনে সে হরে প্রসন্ন হইবে কবে মোরে দয়া করি ভয় ভয় পায় যার দর্শনে সে হরে প্রসন্ন হইবে কবে মোরে দয়া করি যদ্যপি ভীষণ মূর্তি দুষ্ট জীব প্রতি নাদাদি কৃষ্ণ ভক্ত জনে ভদ্ররতি অদ্যাপি ভীষণ মূর্তি কবে বা প্রসন্ন হয়ে সাকিব বচনে নির্ভয় করিবে মোরয়া কিঞ্চনে কবে বা প্রসন্ন হয়ে সাকিব বচনে নির্ভয় করিবে মোরয়া স্বচ্ছন্দে বৈষ্ণবে বৎস শ্রী গৌরাঙ্গ ধামে যুগল ভজন রতি হও নামে স্বচ্ছন্দে বৈষ্ণবে বৎস শ্রী গৌরাঙ্গ ধামে যুগল ভজন রতি হও নামে মম ভক্ত কৃপা বলে বিঘ্ন যাবে দূর শুদ্ধ চিত্তে ভজ রাধা কৃষ্ণ রস পুর মম ভক্ত কৃপা বলে বিঘ্ন যাবে দূর শুদ্ধ চিত্তে ভজ রাধা কৃষ্ণ রস পুর এই বলি কবে মোর মস্তক ভার শ্রী চরণ হর্ষে ধরিবে ঈশ্বর এই বলি কবে মোর মস্তক ভার শ্রী চরণ হর্ষে ধরিবে ঈশ্বর আমি সিংহধারে আমানে জগাল প্রেমে সতকাবে কারে ধরায় লুটিব আমি সিংহধারে এদুস্তরে দায়ে হায় কাময়াদিরে পোছায় কোটি নাটে পদে শাসা সাথ্য সাদারা এদুস্তরে দায়ে হায় কাময়াদিরে পোছায় কোটি নাটে পথে শাসা সাথ সাদারা হৃদয় সাধন কৃষ্ণের বাসনা নৃসিংহ চরণে মোর এই তো কামনা হৃদয় সাধন কৃষ্ণের বাসনা নৃসিংহ চরণে মোর এই তো কামনা। श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय, श्री राधा मदन मोहन भगवान की जय, श्री श्रीमन महाप्रभु की जय, श्री पंचतत्व भगवान की जय, समस्त गौरव भक्त वृंदों की जय, आचार्य वृंदों की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर सीताराम प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। और इसका प्रोग्राम ओके Anybody else wants to sing or anyone has preferred to sing? We can sing about Ujjalavan. Ujjalavarana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravadhe Bhava Videha Ujjalavarana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravadhe Bhava Videha Devavana Pavana Kripayolesham Tam Pranamami Chase Sakitanayam Devavana Pavana Kripayolesham Tam Pranamami Chase Sakitanayam Gada Gadayantara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam Gada Gadayantara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana Karana Karuna Tanga Panamami Shesha Chitanayam Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana Karana Karuna Tanga Pranamami Shesha Chitanayam Arunam Varadhara Charu Kapolam Indu Vinindeta Nakhachaya Rusiram Arunam Varadhara Charu Kapolam Indu Vinindeta Nakhachaya Rusiram Bhava Bhaya Bham Jalpita Nijagana Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Chasi Shasitanayam Jalpita Nijagana Nama Vinodam Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladhara Bhusana Navarasa Bhava Vikara Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladhara Bhusana Navarasa Bhava Vikara Gatiyate Manthara Nitya Vilasa Tam Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Gatiyati Manthara Nitya Vilasa Tam Pranamami Chase Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchira Manjira Ranjita Pada Juga Madhura Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchira Chandra Vinindita Sitala Vadana Tang Pranamami Cha Shri Satitanaya Chandra Vinindita Sitala Vadana Tang Pranamami Cha Hita Koti Dora Kamandula Danda Divya Kalevara Mundita Munda Krita Koti Dora Kamandula Danda Divya Kalevara Mundita Munda Durjana Kalmasa Khandana Danda Tam Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Durjana Kalmasa Khandana Danda Tam Bhusana Bhuraja Alaka Valeta Kompita Bimba Dharavara Ruchiram Bhusana Bhuraja Alaka Valeta Kompita Bimba Dharavara Ruchiram Malaya Virajitayo Jalatilakam Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Malaya Virajitayo Jalatilakam Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalanayana Ajanulam Vita Se Bhuja Jugala Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalanayana Ajanulam Vita Se Bhuja Jugala Kalevara Kaishara Nartakamesha Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Kalevara Kaishara Nartakamesha Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Tang Pranamami Chase Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya Tang Pranamami Chase Satitanaya. A short quiz. What this is song about? This song is about. Like what it is actually talking about. You know.
Yeah, it's about the early morning when you finish the night and welcome the morning.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share anything else? What is actually talking? No, not this one. Sorry, the previous one. What we sang. Can we go back for Ujjala Varana? What we sang just now. Not that one. The Vivahanishesha. Excellent. A specific one thing actually it is glorifying. Can anybody tell what a specific one thing it's glorifying? It's actually a song about Lord Chaitanya's beauty. So if you want to actually understand what his beauty is, this is one of the songs which actually describes all about Lord Chaitanya's beauty, how beautiful he is, how beautiful his different postures, his dancing, his singing, his different bodily features. Those things are actually explained here. Yes, we'll read, of course, the translation. Yeah, Prabhu, can you please give another mic? I will start. His super excellent spiritual body is a brilliant golden color. He is incessantly charmed by sublime transcendental ecstasies. Yeah, okay. A fraction of his mercy is able to deliver. Okay, maybe we can all chant together. A fraction of his mercy is able to deliver all the three worlds. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. Within himself there are transformations of ecstasy, such as faltering of the voice. The mighty sound of his voice chastises wicked man. His mercy dispels all fears caused by worldly existence. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. He wears garments the color of the rising sun. His cheeks are very captivating. His fingernails surpass the beauty and radiance of the moon. He takes delight in uttering the glories of his own transcendental qualities and holy name. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. Streams of ecstatic tears flow from his lotus eyes. He is ornamented with transformations of ecstasy caused by ever new loving mellows. His pastimes of dancing exhibit very slow and graceful movements. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. The nimble movements of his beautiful dancing feet are very pleasing. Those 2 feet are sweetened by tinkling ankle bells. His soothing face surpasses the cooling rays of the moon. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. He sometimes wears a loin cloth of a mendicant and takes up the staff and water pot of a sannyasi monk. His transcendental body is then graced by a shaven head. His chastisement breaks apart and destroys the sins of the wicked souls. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. As a householder, his face is surrounded by locks of dark hair, decorated with the dust of the earth. His excellent lips, which are red like the bimba fruit, are beautified by the trembling in ecstasy. Upon his forehead he wears brilliant tilak made of sandalwood paste. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. The glowing beauty of his lotus petal eyes exceeds that of the rising sun. His two beautiful arms extend down to his knees. His divine body is dressed in the fashion of an adolescent dramatic dancer. Unto that son of Sri Shachi Devi I bow. Jai Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki
Jai.
We'll sing Vibhavari together. Okay. Vibhavare sesa alapa pravesa Nindra chari utha deva Bala Hare Hare Mukunda Murare Rama Krishna Haya Deva Nishinga Vamana Simadu Sudana Rajendra Nandana Shama Utana Ghatana Kaitava Sathana Jaya Dasarathi Rama Jasoda Dolala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purangara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bala Ravananta Kara Makhana Taskara Gopi Jana Mastra Hare Rajero Rakhala Gopavinda Pala Chitta Hare Vamshi Dhare Yogendra Vandana Sinandanandana Raja Jana Bhaya Hare Navina Niradhar Pamanohara Mohana Vamsi Vihare Kamsodi Sudano Nikundara Sovilase Kadapa Kanano Rasapayano Vrindavipena Nivase Ananda Vardhana Prema Niketana Ulo Sara Jodokama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dhama Jamuna Jivana Kaliparayana Manasa Chandra Chandra Nama Sudhara Sagao Krishna Dasa Rakhavasana Manamora Nama Sudhara Sagao Krishna Dasa Rakhavasana Manamora. Very well. What do you want to make the announcement? Should we do an announcement? Yeah. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we have among us His Grace Mukunda Das Prabhuji. He is a profound scholar of our Gaudiya literatures and a very stalwart disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhuji is based in Sri Vrindavan Dham, and we are very fortunate that he keeps us in the loop of his travel during his Samari Yatra in USA. So we are fortunate to have his association today in our temple hall. He will give us our Bhagavatam, Saturday morning Bhagavatam class today. So please welcome him with a big Haribol chanting. Haribol! 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 Hare Krishna. Power goes this side or that side?
No, not necessary. Maybe you could, but we'll see. Okay. Shall we sing Jai Radha Madhava?
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Acharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimad Srila Abhay Chanararana Bhaktivedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Thakur Haridasa ki jai. Prem se koho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Devi ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Rani ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Hari Nama Sankirtan ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. ISKCON BBT Samstapak Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishne Swadhamopagate Dharmajnanadibhissaha Kalau Nashtadrishamesha Puranarko Dhunoditaha. Don't depend on screens too much. Keep it here. Okay, we're on Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, Canto 3, Chapter 25, which is Lord Kapila Dev's explanation of devotional service unto his mother, Devahuti. And text number 36 is a very instructive text in many ways, so we can speak about that. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 25, Text 36, 3:25-26. Yeah, good, we have it. Okay, so Taihi Darshaniya Avayavaihi Udara Vilas Hasa Ikshita Vama Suktaihi Krita Atmanaha Krita Pranan Cha Bhakti Anichataha Me gatim antim prayukte tair darshaniya vayavairudara vilasaha sekshitavamasuktaihi Pratatmano hrita pranamscha bhaktir Anichato me gatim antim prayunkte. Anyone else?
Taidarshaniya vayavairudara
Taidarshaniya vayavairudara
Vilasaha sekshitavamasuktaih
Vilasaha sekshitavamasuktaih
Rutatmano rutapranam cha bhaktir
Pratatmano hrita pranamscha bhaktir
Anischato me gatimanvim prayukte
Ladies?
Taidarshaniya vayavairudara
Taidarshaniya vayavairudara
Vilasaha sekshitavamasuktaihi
Vilasaha sekshitavamasuktaihi
Hritatmano hrita pranamscha bhaktir
Hritatmano hrita pranamscha bhaktir
Anichato me gatim anvim prayukte
Anichato me gatimantim prayukte Taihi by those forms Darshaniya charming Avayavaihi whose limbs Udara exalted Vilasa pastimes Hasa smiling Ikshita glances Vama pleasing Suktaihi whose delightful words Krita captivated Atmanaham their minds Krita captivated Pranan their senses Cha and Bhakti devotional service Anichadaha unwilling may my gatim abode andim subtle prayonkte secures. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord smiling and attractive and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. Kindly repeat. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements. And he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. Can we have the previous verse displayed for a moment? Because it's relevant. Meanwhile, we have purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Well, let's read the previous verse, a translation. O my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me. All right, so today's purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, there are 3 divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Even the third class devotees are liberated souls. It is explained in this verse that although they do not have knowledge, simply by seeing the beautiful decoration of the deity in the temple, the devotee is absorbed in thought of him and loses all other consciousness. Simply by fixing oneself in Krishna consciousness, engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, one is imperceptibly liberated. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Simply by discharging uncontaminated devotional service as prescribed in the scriptures, one becomes equal to Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That's chapter 14, text 26. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman, because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. But simply because of his forgetfulness of his real nature as an eternal servitor of the Lord, he is overwhelmed and captured by Maya. His forgetfulness of his real constitutional position is Maya. Otherwise, he is eternally Brahman. When one is trained to become conscious of his position, he understands that he is the servitor of the Lord. Brahman refers to the state of self-realization. Even the third-class devotee who is not advanced in knowledge of the absolute truth, but simply offers obeisances with great devotion, thinks of the Lord, sees the Lord in the temple, and brings forth flowers and fruits to offer to the deity, becomes imperceptibly liberated. Shraddhayanvitaha. With great devotion, the devotees offer worshipful respects and paraphernalia to the deity. The deities of Radha and Krishna, Lakshmi and Narayana, and Rama and Sita are attractive to devotees, so much so that when they see the statue decorated in the temple of the Lord, they become fully absorbed in thought of the Lord. That is the state of liberation. In other words, it is confirmed herewith that even a third-class devotee is in the transcendental position above those who are trying for liberation by speculation or by other methods. Even great impersonalists like Shukdev Goswami and the 4 Kumaras were attracted by the beauty of the deities in the temple, by the decorations, and by the aroma of tulsi offered to the Lord. And they become devotees. Even though they were in the liberated state, instead of remaining impersonalists, they were attracted by the beauty of the Lord and became devotees. Here the word vilasa is very important. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord. It is a prescribed duty in temple worship that we should not only should one visit the temple to see the deity nicely decorated, but at the same time he should hear the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or some similar literature which is regularly recited in the temple. It is the system in Vrindavan that in every temple there is recitation of the Shastras. Even third-class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, their minds may remain always absorbed in the thought of the Lord, His form, His activities, and His transcendental nature. This state of Krishna consciousness is a liberated stage. Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 important processes in the discharge of devotional service. 1, to chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 2. To associate with devotees and serve them as far as possible. 3. To hear Srimad Bhagavatam. 4. To see the decorated temple and the deity, and if possible, 5. To live in a place like Vrindavan or Mathura. These 5 items alone can help a devotee achieve the highest perfectional stage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That third-class devotees can also imperceptibly achieve liberation is accepted in all Vedic literatures. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Madgavira Vigopala Swikuryat Kripaya Yadi Tadaivasam Payaha Pitva Hrishayustat Priyajanaha. O Gopal, please kindly accept even my words as your cows. Only then will your beloved devotees enjoy their milk. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. The first thing Srila Prabhupada says here in this purport, and the thing that he repeats at least 3 times in the purport, is what? Yes, even a third-class neophyte with no knowledge and not much taste and not even much faith, he's liberated. But his liberation is imperceptible. He doesn't know he's liberated. That is to say, while he's engaged in devotional service, he's liberated. That is a fact. And who's to say? Who are we to judge anyone? A person who is grazed by a bona fide spiritual master, he's considered to be a liberated soul, even if he's so neophyte. And he doesn't know anything, and he doesn't have such deep faith, and a lot of the time he's not even engaged in devotional service. But he's liberated by divine grace. That's how I understand it, at least. 3 times Prabhupada says this here. So, generally the Kanishta Adhikari is coming to the temple and seeing the deity, and that's all he knows. Outside of the temple, he doesn't remember Krishna, and he's lost. But still, he's so fortunate because he has that attachment to seeing Krishna. And certainly while his eyes are fixed on the beautiful forms of the Lord in the temple, he loses all other interest in anything else. This is something anybody can experience. We've all experienced this. The beauty of the Lord in the temple. And what to speak of actually engaging ourselves in the Lord's service, and what to speak of engaging ourselves in uncontaminated devotional service. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, we attain the Brahma state of Brahmabhuta realization, that is liberation, by engaging in unflinching devotional service. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman because he's part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. But simply because of forgetfulness of his real nature as an eternal servitor of the Lord, he's overwhelmed and captured by Maya. So we're all actually liberated to the extent that we're engaged here in devotional service, even if we don't know it. And the irony is this: even when you go back to Godhead, you still don't realize that you're liberated. You never realize that you're liberated, even when you're liberated. You ask anyone in the spiritual world, go to Mother Yashoda and say, did you know that you're liberated? She said, well, what nonsense you're talking. We're just ordinary cowherd villagers. Well, what do we know about liberation? Gopis actually say this explicitly, isn't it? Famous verse. So, Shraddhayanvitaha. With great devotion, the devotees offer respects to the deities. And Prabhupada is emphasizing deity worship because it's implied here. So, in his commentary on this verse, Sridhar Swami says that this verse explains that there will be spiritual bliss, or Atmananda. Darshaniya means to be enchanted by those forms, and Avayava refers to the face, the eyes, and so on, the different parts of the Lord's transcendental form. Hritatma, Hrita Atma means what? Well, he's going to tell us what it means. Hritatma means their consciousness, chittam, becomes captivated. That is to say, attracted, akrishta, as are their senses, prana, while worshiping the Lord. Even without desiring this, anicchata, it happens. So, Hrita Atma. What does Atma mean? Atma, what does it mean, Atma? Self. What is that self? The soul, okay. Anything else? Anything else? You're all too advanced. Atma, yes, Atma means the body also. Atma means the mind also. Atma means the self also. The Atma means the Jivatma. Here Sridhar Swami is telling us it means their mind or their chitta. Chitta is a little bit different than mind in Sankhya philosophy. We have to understand this. Chitta means the three things. It means the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. That's also called antahakarana, or subtle body. That subtle body is what becomes hrita, stolen. Stolen by whom? Krishna. Krishna likes to steal things. One poet said, Payaha suchauda. You're an expert thief of what? Payaha. What does that mean? Milk. Milk products. Payasa chauda. Paradada chauda. What does that mean? You steal other people's wives. This happened during Krishna's pastimes. Stri vastra chauda. What does it mean? He likes to steal women's garments when they're bathing in the Yamuna. Who is this Supreme Personality of Godhead doing these things? Stri vastra chauda. Sura vriksha chauda. Sura vriksha chauda. What does it mean? Trees that belong to demigods. He steals them. At least he stole Indra's tree, right? Parijata. Sura vriksha chauda. Sangsara chauda. He steals away what? Sangsara. Your whole cycle of transmigration throughout this material world. He steals it. Therefore, sakaladhi chauda. He steals everything. And as such, Shriya Patehe Tvam. Navanita Chora. People know you as Navanita Chora, the butter thief, but actually you steal away everything. Therefore, you're the best of all these thieves. This is you. Famous verse, another one. Vraje prasittam navanita choram, gopangananam chitakula choram, aneka janmarshita papa choram, choragraganyam purusham namami. Yeah, so it's the same meaning also. All right, so Krishna Hari means he takes things. Hari. So Hrita Atma, he takes your mind by force. That's why it's said here. Anichataha. Even if you don't want it to happen, I'm warning you, those of you who are new, once you start chanting, you're finished. Because he's marked you then. This person has chanted my name, I'm going to steal his mind. And he does it. Even if we don't have a strong desire, even if we don't have much faith, even if we're not always engaged, somehow or other, gradually, the Lord will do this to us by the power of his holy name. Because his holy name is, that's why we say, Hari. We were talking last night. Hare Krishna also means Hari Krishna, thief Krishna. So, all right, so this is, Sridhar Swami says this, and he goes on. The phrase Anvim Gatim means liberation. Prayunkte means it propels us, prapyati. This process of devotional service and just engaging our senses by seeing the deity and by serving the deity, taking prasadam, chanting the holy name, hearing Bhagavatam, this pushes us back to Godhead. Anichataha, even if we don't want it. Prapayati means it makes you attain that supreme goal. So, by whose practices? He's asking this rhetorical question. The practices of those whose consciousness is captivated by the Lord's exalted pastimes and so on. Here, vilasa, the word is used vilas, means pastimes, lila. Vamam means enchanting, manoharam. And suktam, you can't see it on the screen. Suktam means delightful speech, madhura bhashanam. These are the weapons, I should say, by which Krishna robs us. If you go to San Francisco downtown, you'll probably be robbed because the state government has legalized crime now. So anyway, so some people are going to rob you at gunpoint or whatever. But what are the weapons that Krishna uses to rob us of our minds? His beauty, his beautiful madhura bhashanam, his beautiful speech, his enchanting pastimes, the way he deals. So this is Krishna. And just by hearing about these things, Rukmini Rani became so attracted that she decided, I'm going to, forget whatever my father, my older brother, whatever they say, I'm going for this boy, otherwise I'm going to kill myself. She wrote him a letter. That's pretty strident, isn't it? The Indian girls especially, what to speak of now, 5,000 years ago, it's inconceivable that she could do this. But devotees whose minds are attracted by Krishna, they can do anything. One time, one of my godbrothers was in Vrindavan, Prabhupada. This is in 1977. Everybody know Abhiram? Anybody know Abhiram Prabhu? Have you met him? Very, very nice devotee. So, Prabhupada, they had to get Prabhupada a passport really quick because they found out at the last minute that Prabhupada's passport was expired. They already bought the tickets. They were ready to go. So he rushed to the embassy in New Delhi. At that time, the New Delhi, the ambassador, anybody know who Eric Garcetti is? He's the ambassador now in India. Used to be the mayor of Los Angeles. Anyway, somehow or other, by Biden's kripa, he ended up in New Delhi. Anyway, so at that time in 1977, the ambassador from the United States, he was also a spy. Usually ambassadors are spies. So, and the devotees, by dealing with him, American to American, they could understand this. Because he would just, they would talk like Americans, and this is, This is what they would do. So they knew that he was a spy, but, of course, he'll never admit it. So my godbrother Abhiram, he went there, and he told him that, he went to the counter, he told the lady at the counter, we need a passport, we need this rushed because the plane ticket is out, we're ready to go. And she said, well, I'm sorry, but it's too late. This is what bureaucrats usually do, right? Bureaucrats are meant to do this. So then he decided to make a stink, and he said, no, you don't understand. This is for His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and we need this now. And I would like to speak with your supervisor, please. And so she brought the supervisor, and he said, well, I'm sorry, but what she said, it's true, this is our policy, and we can't, it's just too late. And he said, all right, listen, he's in dhoti and tilak, everything, full on, And he tells, listen, I'm a religious fanatic, and there's no telling what I'll do. You have to give me this passport, and I want it now. So somehow or other, then they got like the ambassador became involved. And, he went in to see the ambassador, and he didn't stop at that. Abhiram said, look, we know who you are. We know exactly what we're doing. We've got the data, and we're going to out you if you don't give us this passport. What do they call it now? They're going to dox you, right? So, we're going to expose everything. And the guy was cursing at them with every foul word in the English dictionary, or the ones that aren't in the dictionary, I should say. So anyway, Prabhupada, they got his passport. The point being that devotees whose minds are stolen by Krishna or stolen by Srila Prabhupada, they can do anything. That means that they can keep on doubling the book distribution every year, like Prabhupada wanted us to do. From 74 to 77, pretty much, every year it was being doubled, because that's what Prabhupada wanted, and the devotees knew this is what Prabhupada wanted, and come hell or high water, they were going to get it done, no matter what. To push heaven through earth if you have to, but somehow get this done. That is faith. Shraddhayanvita, the word is used here. Imbued with faith. Now, this is Sridhar Swami's commentary. Krama Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami says, Swakarma phala nirdishtam ityadi ritya dhamyena shuddha bhakti matret chutad anitchatoapi anvim sukshmam prakritya atitatvena durgyayam parshadattva lakshanam. Interesting words here. He says, because a devotee, humbly considering himself to be under the reactions of his own karma, desires only bhakti, he does not desire other things. That includes what other things? Two categories Rupa Goswami tells us in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What are the two non-devotional options that we all have? Only two. Huh? Yeah, basically, karma and gyan. This anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavrtam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. The pure devotional service is defined by being free of any other desire. So Jiva Goswami is saying here that he doesn't desire any of these other things. He only wants bhakti, and he humbly considers himself to be under the reactions of his own karma, but he is not. He's actually liberated. Bhakti gives the difficult to understand, subtle destination beyond material nature in the form of becoming an associate of Krishna. This is not just impersonal liberation. And who's a favorite example that we always have? Oho bakiyam stanakalakutam jighansaya payayarapya sadhvi lebhe gatim dhatriuchitam tatonyam kamvadayalum sharanam vrajema. Putana came, she was an agent of Kamsa, she was a demon, and she hated him, and she wanted to kill him. But even though she came to kill him, because she acted like a mother, Krishna was so merciful, he accepted her as a mother. He killed her, he liberated her, and more than liberation, that's called vimukti. He sent her back to Godhead. And she became what in the spiritual world? One of Mother Yashoda's helpers, a nursemaid. So, this is what Jiva Goswami is saying. This can happen to us. Now, this destination, this liberated status is extremely subtle, anvim. And it's therefore called durgyayam. in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, anybody know this verse? Sukshmatvat tadavignyayam. Krishna mentions, just, briefly, just in passing, Krishna mentions, but it's very powerful little phrase in that verse. What does it mean? Sukshmatvat, on account of being so subtle, tadavignyayam. This Supreme Lord is, hardly anybody understands him, in fact. We don't understand him. This is the irony, how you can be liberated without understanding Bhagavan at the same time. Only divine grace, as far as I know. This is what's being implied here. So, and parshadattva lakshanam, that is to say that it's difficult to attain status beyond prakriti, or in a transcendental prakriti, I mean to say, even though someone may not really desire it that much, but Krishna gives it. That is mercy only. Has to be only divine grace. His divine grace. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says also, long purport he gives, very, very involved, many paragraphs actually. Distaste for merging in Brahman arises from the amazing experience of sweetness and seeing me. He's talking in the voice of Kapila Dev. It's true. Devotees just, they don't care a fig for impersonal liberation. In fact, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says that liberation is what? It's like, naraka. It's like hell. Because if there's no possibility of exchange for Krishna, what is there for me to do? Famous Braj poet, Paramananda Das, also, he said, Kaha karo Vaikunte jai. Even if I were to go to Vaikunta, what am I going to do there? He's not even interested in worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. He only wants Krishna, Yashoda, the Gopas and the cows and the Tulsi and the Yamuna and Giriraj and all these things. That's all he cares about. So, the limbs of Krishna, Rama, and other forms are very attractive, darshaniya, and possess attractive words, glances, smiles, and pastimes which fulfill the desires of the devotees. Udara. That Udara means magnanimous. They give all these gifts. Just like now in India. Anybody been to India recently? Did you go to Ayodhya by any chance? Okay, this is a hot new thing in India. Ram Lala. Beautiful new deity, Krishna, 5 years old. Everybody who sees him, at least devotees of Krishna, when they see him, they think, he's looking more like Krishna. He's only 5. Actually, that 1.5 or 2 lakhs of people every day, that's about 250,000 people a day are going to see him. And the pujari there was a press release, he's saying, hey, we have to give this boy some rest, he's only 5. Let him take a nap in the afternoon or something. The people all through the day, just, they had to go to TTD in South India and figure out how to manage the crowds. Even Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, ever since the pandemic years, now there's a 300% increase in pilgrims coming to Krishna Balaram temple, such that every day it seems like Janmashtami. It's overwhelming. Talk about overstimulating. I mean, really, it's hard to get into the temple sometimes. Panchagoda, the temple president, had to go there, had to go and talk to TTD. How do you deal with these crowds? So anyway, all right. So this is what he says. The Lord's, all these deity forms are so beautiful. They fulfill all the desires of the devotees very magnanimously. They give their glances, they give their words, their smiles. If we can only connect through devotional service, then you can hear. We told the story last night. Deities can talk to you. Sometimes Prabhupada would come to a temple. He would call for the pujari. Pujari comes, yes, Prabhupada. He said, how are Radha and Krishna doing? And the pujari's like, oh, you don't know? No, you should know. Pujari should know. How are you going to take care of them? You don't know how they're doing. If they're hot, if they're cold. One devotee in Vrindavan, her name was Pisima, because the children of the neighborhood, they used to call her that. This is about 150 years ago, 200 years ago. So when she got old, she couldn't take care of the deities, Gaurnitai deities anymore. This is in Bankandi Mohalla in Vrindavan, near Bankandi Mahadev, just across the street. Gaurnitai temple. So when she became old, she would stay upstairs in her room, and she was not able to come down and take care of the deity any longer. But she knew everything what's happening with them. She knew. And so she called for the pujari. Pujari came upstairs and she said, "How is Mahaprabhu caught a cold? What have you done to him?" The devotee was very sincere devotee. Gopeshwar Banerjee was his name, Bandhopyadhyaya, Bengali Brahmin. So he was very sincere devotee, very bhajana nishtha, but he wasn't so expert in the ways of archana seva. Prema seva means to say. So he didn't know that in the winter time you have to give Krishna warm water to drink even, what to speak of to take his bath. So he gave the deity cold water bath, and Mahaprabhu caught a cold. Sometimes we know Jagannath catches a cold, right? Sometimes. So we have to treat Krishna like a person, and he will respond like a person. And sometimes if he's very merciful, even if you're dull-headed, anitchataha, not desiring anything transcendental, sometimes even then he'll give you mercy. It happens sometimes. Not all the time, not even very, very much. I mean, always the mercy is there, but sometimes these special pastimes that the deity may perform, he may talk to you, he may do so many things. If we engage with Krishna as a person, then he will respond as a person. This is the principle. All right, so even then, this Gopeshwar Banerjee didn't believe that, she's just, she's old maybe, and, the old people say so many things. So she said, "All right, take me downstairs." He helped her downstairs. She took the anchal of her cloth. She went on the altar. She held it up to Gaura's nose. It became wet, and then she stuffed that in his face and said, "This is your devotion." So anyway, the deity is ready to reciprocate with us, if we're willing. Because their minds and senses are attracted by these things, they don't desire liberation. Yes, nobody. Anybody here wanting to merge into Brahman and just think about Atma for the rest of eternity? I don't think so. Prabhupada said it's like getting in an airplane, but that airplane's never going to land. It's hell. Especially if it's on Spirit Airlines. So, people try to make us a reservation on Spirit Airline. We refuse. Anyway, so, O devotees, please accept liberation in the Brahman. If this is uttered, there is no opportunity to give it because their minds have been stolen by the sweet words of Krishna. Madhuradhipater akhilam madhuram. Madhuram adharam madhuram, vachanam madhuram, right? All these things have been listed already by Vallabhacharya. Everything about the Lord just steals our minds. So they can't even think about liberation. So, if that's the case, then why does omniscient Bhakti offer it to them? Bhakti Devi knows everything. So why does she offer liberation to a devotee who is already absorbed in devotional service? Then he gives the answer. The person who can give chintamani or touchstone made of valuable diamonds and rubies sometimes makes a show of giving gold only. Otherwise, the foolish who desire only gold would cause disturbance by saying that the donor has no gold. You understand the point that he's making here? That's why sometimes I mentioned, just sometimes, not all the time, sometimes people get special mercy even if they don't deserve it. Because otherwise there's a plausible deniability, isn't it? The atheists can always say, and they do always say, that, this is all just in your imagination and everything. Well, how does it happen? It happens. Anyway, so, and it's the foolish people. They can't imagine anything beyond liberation because they're foolish. So it's to these people. In other words, tadiyeshitu gyeshu bhaktair jitatvam. And what is Krishna showing the foolish people who are absorbed only in his majesty or in impersonal liberation as well? He's showing them. Iti driksva lilabhir ananda kundena madjantam. I'm drowning these people, holding them under the water of ananda. You die. Your material, false ego dies in that ocean because you're drowned. So this is the thing. Prabhupada therefore said, we want to become deep water fish in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, swimming deep. Rupa Goswami also gives this analogy. So, Bhakti Devi, in order to destroy this foolishness of purported jnanis who desire only liberation, offers liberation to the devotees, but does not give it to them. The jnanis who are trying by their knowledge and by, what do they say in English, by the strength of their own bootstraps or something, they say, by your own qualifications, so-called qualifications, whatever you're trying to do to get liberation, you're not going to be successful, Baba. It is Kali Yuga. It's not going to work. And we see that. Nothing works, practically speaking. No religion in the world outside of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or Vaishnavism in general. It just doesn't work that well. People cannot become detached. They cannot become liberated. They can't have full knowledge of the Lord. They don't even know He's a person, half of these so-called religious people. And there are some religions that are just explicitly atheistic, but they call them religions anyway. They're called Gnostics. And even in Vedic literature, you have some Gnostic philosophies as well. Atheism. What's atheism? What is it? What does it mean, atheism? Huh? No faith? No, that's not the definition. If you look in the dictionary, what is the dictionary definition? Everybody's typing quickly on their phones. It's 2024. Oh, what a world we live in. Okay, what is it? Do not believe in the existence of God. Everybody agree with that? Raise your hand if you think that's the definition of atheism. People are afraid to raise it. They're going like this. It is not the definition of atheism. The definition of atheism in our line, you do not accept the authority of the Vedas. There's a big difference because one of them is theoretical. The other one is practical. The Vedas say, do this, don't do that. And if somebody doesn't do what the Vedas are telling us to do, then you're considered to be an atheist. Practical definition. God is okay, that's implicit. Why you accept the Vedas? Because they're non-different from God. That's okay. So that definition also works. But technically speaking, atheism means we don't accept the authority of the Vedas and we don't follow the Vedic injunctions. These are things that Prabhupada has said in many, many purports throughout his books. All right, so another meaning of this verse is that Bhakti Devi makes these people, these jnanis and others, have no desire for liberation. And Prabhupada has already given us in his purport, somebody can raise this thing maybe 1 inch. Somehow I'm not able to do it. In his purport, Prabhupada gives at least 2 examples of this. Who are they? He names them. Anybody was listening carefully, you may guess, hazard a guess here. 4 Kumaras and Shukdev Goswami. Previously, both of them were impersonalists. They became devotees by smelling the tulasi offered at the lotus feet of the Lord in the case of the 4 Kumaras, and in the case of Shukdev Goswami, how did he become a devotee? By hearing Bhagavatam. And in fact, he heard this particular verse of Bhagavatam that we've already recited. The mercy that the Lord gave to Putana. Beyond liberation, he gave her this vimukti. And she became one of Krishna's mothers in his pastimes. Shukdev Goswami must have been stunned by that epiphany. That, oh my God, this is what Krishna can do. Now this is worth taking birth. 16 years he was in the womb because he thought, well, it's all Maya anyway, so what's the difference? I'm in the womb, at least I'm not going to get into any mischief here, right? But then, he saw a reason. Once I was very depressed, I have to admit, when I was in the beginning of my Saturn period. Anybody who knows the Shani Saturn period, you know what that's like. And so then I was talking to my god sister Govinda Dasi, and she said, yeah, but you know what? This world, there's a lot of nectar in this world. And that is the use for the devotees. Devotees don't have any, they don't really care. If they're advanced devotees, that is to say, Neophytes, we all have our habits, but if a person is advanced and he doesn't care for this karma, and it also doesn't even care for the gyan, then for him there's only one reason to deal with this material world, and that is devotional service. I was speaking with one person last night who said that, I have everything that I want in this material world, but it's not satisfying. And this is what everyone experiences if you get to that position. Most of us are so stupid that we spend our whole life wasting all the time trying to get to a position that is not written on our forehead. Likhitam api lalate pronsitam kaha samartha. If your karma is delimiting your enjoyment in this world for this life, your prarabdha karma, you're not going to change that. I'm sorry. Can't be done. But people don't have faith, and they waste their whole human life just trying to chase after this illusory dream, the American dream, right? Every one of them. If they don't go to Las Vegas, at least they will go to Niagara Falls. Hey, Sach hai na? So, this is, human life is actually meant for something higher than this. And now I got off track. Niagara Falls. What was I saying? Huh? Yes, you cannot overcome your karma. So, don't waste time trying for, karma, or even liberation is a waste of time, because what are you going to do in the Brahman? Om. How long can you do it? We want society, we want friendship, we want love. Raise your hand if you can have everything you want in this world. Think of it. Money, prestige, good career, nice family, cars, women, mansions, everything. Good health, whatever it is. You can have all of that, but no love. Anybody interested? Of course not. It's ridiculous. Therefore we say, it is stupid to simply chase after illusory dreams that cannot be had because the karma is limited. Like a dog on a leash. His leash is only so long. They have these extendable leashes right now. The little guy can run around and he can go and do his thing over there. And in California, people are so humble that they obey the scoop law, right? Prabhupada said, if you don't want to serve G-O-D, then you have to serve D-O-G. And we see it played out in technicolor in daily life. People are chasing these illusory dreams, the American dream. And, but if a little bit more advanced than that, then at least they're trying for something higher. They recognize that this is all a waste of time. And they try for liberation. But that liberation is also a waste of time because it doesn't fulfill your essential needs, actually. It's a highly artificial condition to be in. So really the only reason to stay in this world and engage with this world is devotional service. That engages our senses fully. There's no problem. We're also eating. We're also seeing colors. We're also touching things and smelling and doing things. But everything connected to Krishna. Tamal Krishna Goswami used to say, they say that devotees have a one-track mind. But he said, actually, devotees have a 64-track mind, but all the tracks are on Krishna. This is transcendental variety. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. You take these senses that ordinarily will take you to hell, and you employ them. Not what they want you to do, but what Krishna wants you to do. That takes little discipline in the beginning, but when Krishna starts to reciprocate with the seva that we render him, then we get mercy and we feel this taste that he's talking about. It's a taste that steals away your atma. Now we mentioned, atma means three things: body, mind, self. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Saravatma snaparam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This Sankirtana process, it cleanses all three of them. Your body will become purified, your mind certainly becomes purified, even your soul. So, this is This is some of the things that are mentioned here so far. So, another meaning of the verse is that bhakti makes these devotees have no desire for liberation. And we gave the example of Shukdev Goswami and Kumaras, and there are many others. They come to bhakti through this liberation. That's a little more rare, but it can happen. And this verb, he says, has a causative meaning. It means that they make you go to, they push you into liberation, whether you want it really or not, we've discussed. Another meaning is that the devotees, out of humility, don't desire that which is most subtle, beyond prakriti, anvim. It's most difficult to understand. They do not desire even being an associate of the Lord. Devotees often pray, let me stay in the material world, birth after birth, with devotion to you. There are some great devotees. Prabhupada didn't recommend us to try to cultivate this spirit because we don't have that adhikar, frankly, if we're honest. We really don't. We would like to stay in this world, but not to serve Krishna. That's our problem, more often than not. But who is one of those devotees who prayed like this? Swastyastu Vishwasya Khala Prasidadam. This is Vasudev Datta also. He said, let me take all the sins of everybody in this world, whatever they've done, put it on me so that they can be liberated. Can you imagine that? Prabhupada said, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, a devotee should shed gallons of his own blood in order to save even one other jiva. Any doctors here? They're shy. Okay. How many gallons of blood are there in a human body?
5 liters.
Yeah. Maybe 1 gallon, right? 2 gallons. So, not a whole lot. So if you're shedding gallons of blood, you're shedding more blood than you even have. That much you have to put out for another conditioned soul. And Vasudev Datta is doing that. He's ready. It's not just an idle sentiment that if Krishna actually fulfills it, he's, oh my God, what did I ask for? That happened to me once. I went to Mayapur and prayed to Lord Narasimhadev. I didn't know it at the time, but I was beginning my Saturn period. I told him, pull out all the stops, just do whatever you have to do to make me Krishna conscious. This is Mukunda Narasimha in Mayapur. And he did it. 26 years of suffering after that. First, I was in Mahadasha Saturn, and then the Saraswati for another 7.5 years. Anyway, so we don't have this kind of adhikar, but there are devotees who are like that. And they don't even desire to be to go back to Godhead. They pray, let me stay here birth after birth, but with devotion for you. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ideal. We can keep that as an ideal, and maybe someday we can get there. Impossible things are made possible by devotional service. My godbrother Guru Das, he said, devotional service renders physical laws elastic. Just like the leash on the dog, right? He's got his karma, but Krishna, it's all right. So this karma is there's no limitation for a devotee because it can be destroyed. It is destroyed. Even by namabhasa, it is destroyed. Even by impure chanting, your prarabdha karma will be changed. The Puranas give an example, just like when you clap your hands, all the pigeons disperse, right? They scatter. That sinful activities are like that as soon as you're chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so this is Jiva Goswami's understanding that they may pray that let me stay in this material world and have devotion for you and save all these conditioned souls, but still bhakti makes those devotees take the position of an associate, because you can remain an associate of the Lord in the spiritual world even while you're embodied in this one. We see so many of our acharyas, this is the example, Prabhupada included. So this is Jiva Goswami's Sandarbha says this. Rupa Goswami says it means that bhakti makes the minds of the devotees who don't desire liberation attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. Because most pure devotees, they come through karma just because there are more karmis than jnanis at any given time. That's just always, that is the norm. So coming through karma, we have this habituation to variety, right? And to activity, because that's what this world is full of. Now, that's actually very favorable to bhakti. It's ironic that the jnanis are actually in a less favorable condition for cultivating bhakti, because the transition from karma to akarma is very clean. All the technology, all the mechanics of it remain the same. So devotees immediately become extremely advanced. We were discussing this last night. You have, say, 1,000 zeros, but there's no one in front of them. What's it worth? Kuch nahi. But if you put a 1 there, or if you put a 999 there, 9 lakhs. That's how many cows Nanda Maharaj has. Did you know that? 9 lakhs. All right, so anyway. Even if we don't desire liberation, Krishna gives it, but even if we also don't, because we don't desire liberation, being karmis in the past, therefore Krishna gives us this transcendental position. We become attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. And Sridhar Swami, he's quoting Sridhar Swami, but we've already read that. He makes them liberated even though they don't desire it. And he quotes the 3rd canto, chapter 32, text 33, a single object is appreciated differently by different senses due to its having different qualities. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is one, but according to different scriptural injunctions, he appears to be different. Thus, bhakti can offer liberation before those persons realize full happiness with the Lord. Bhakti forcibly makes them take liberation to experience the happiness of Brahman, though they don't want it. But then the Lord pulls them out of that realization and makes them his associates in the spiritual world and drowns them eternally in the bliss of service. We've mentioned this already. Nimajjantam, anandakunde nimajjantam. So, just like Krishna pulled the inhabitants of Vraja out of the Brahma lake and put them in the spiritual world. That's 10th canto, chapter 28, 16. So this can be understood from bathing in the meaning of the next verse. That's maybe beyond the scope of today's class because it's already late. But just a couple of points I would like to make here in closing that Srila Prabhupada mentions. He quotes this verse in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 6, text 42. Which lists this one among many other verses in the 3rd and 4th cantos that urge pure devotional service, unmixed devotion. Now, for deity worship is a strong emphasis in today's purport and verse. So if you want to read some things about deity worship that will help you very much, you can read the purport of 3.19.24. This ISV is so great because everybody takes notes here, they're into it. Some people are just looking out the window and thinking about prasadam, but you people are actually hearing. So 3.19.24 is one such reference. Another golden one, 2.3.22. And 3.20.25 is a third. The whole chapter 27 of 11th canto. Yeah, you're never going to catch up. I'm just listing them too fast. But yeah, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have Madhya 24, beginning from text 330. And Madhya 9, the purport of text 155 is very nice. And Adi Lila, chapter 8.31. Yeah. So these are some things. Regarding association, because Prabhupada has already also mentioned it, we can look in the 11th canto, chapter 2, text 47, and there on very famous verses about the 3 stages of the devotees, Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikaras. So those are some others that we can think about. All right. And now, just last thing I want to say is that regarding this 5 principal practices of devotional service, that Rupa Goswami lists in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What are they? Who can recite? Somebody raise your hand and tell me, what are these 5 most important, most potent forms of devotional service?
Chanting, association, hearing Bhagavatam, deity worship, and reciting in Dham.
Yes. So, Tamal Krishna Goswami wrote a very wonderful book, very thoughtful book, called the Living Theology of Krishna Bhakti. That's basically, his his doctoral dissertation from Cambridge. So he writes therein, in chapter 5, that Srila Prabhupada had faith that in time his followers will become bhava bhaktas, even though we're so crazy at the moment, and we may be just, right off the street and very kacha and, just diamond in the rough, as they say. But Prabhupada had faith in the transformative power of these 5 essential core practices. So, and not only bhava bhaktas are pure devotees, but they've also become spiritual masters, many of them. And they offer spiritually elevated Krishna conscious association as Rupa Goswami originally intended. He continues, Dr. Larry Shin, a very favorable scholar of religion, favorable to ISKCON, he observes that ISKCON and its members' vitality depend on this, quote, the movement will fare well precisely to the extent that the leaders adhere to the spiritual practices taught by Prabhupada and have achieved the kinds of levels of spiritual advancement that come with those practices. That's page 166 of his book. I think it's an interview. Anyway, if you want to know it, you can ask me later. Then Tamal Krishna Goswami concludes that the 5 principal practices of devotional service are so potent that a small attachment to any of these 5 items can arouse devotional ecstasy, bhava bhakti. Even in a neophyte, this is the point of today's verse. And that's from Nectar of Devotion, page 109. They are the primary means, or the abhidheya, to realize the soul's relationship, sambandha, with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Strong faith is not a prerequisite. That's very interesting, isn't it? Because normally what do we hear about faith? Adosha, that's the first thing you need. But even if you have, some faith, hona chahiye, some faith should be there. But strong faith need not be there in the beginning. As long as we have enough faith to perform these 5 practices, those practices themselves will infuse us with faith. That is the power of bhakti. Shuddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. So, this in the light of Rupa Goswami's earlier statement that bhava bhakti is very rare, sudurlabha. In Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's opinion, Krishna hesitates to bestow bhava bhakti because it portends prema, by which he is irresistibly controlled. Everybody understand this? Krishna is very hesitant. Muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. He'll give you liberation without much problem. That's the easy thing for him, and he doesn't mind. So we don't have to worry about it. The purport suggests that we're already liberated, as long as we're at least engaged. But furthermore, he says, Krishna is hesitant to give bhava bhakti because pretty soon, if you're a bhava bhakta, assuming that you don't offend anyone, you're going to get prema, and that's dangerous for Krishna. Why? Because God has one weakness. God is omnipotent. He has every strength, but he has one weakness. What is that weakness? Pure love he cannot resist. He cannot. Anybody with his pure love, we discussed this the other night. Krishna will do anything for his pure devotee, because that devotee will do anything for him. It's reciprocal. It's personal, in other words. So we just have to start treating Krishna like a person, chant his name like he's a person, ask for only the things that we know he wants, and then we will see ourselves such a transformation, miraculous transformation. So even if we accept the additional authority that commentators give Rupa Goswami's text, that these 5 practices to be fully effective, practitioners must not commit offense to the deity, to the holy name, or to the Vaishnavas. This is what I said. So he goes on to say this. Prabhupada's confidence in the potency of this process to rectify all of us has no limit, Tamal Krishna Goswami says. We see this particularly in the treatment of the Raganuga Bhakti. In Rupa's schema, the stage of devotional service and practice, sadhana can be either rule-governed, vaidhi, or impassioned, that is to say, spontaneous, Raganuga sadhana. They're parallel modes, both paths leading to Bhava Bhakti, but obligation and love are very different motivations, and so too the bhavas that arise as a result of each. This is an important point. Now, it's 9:30, so maybe we should just stop now. But if anybody has any questions or any comments, we can discuss. Yes? Way in the back.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful lecture. I had a question. We hear that Shankaracharya is an expansion of Lord Shiva, and he came to spread the Mayavadi philosophy. And also Ramanujacharya is an expansion of Lakshman, and he came to spread the Sri Vaishnava family. And all these devotees came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread all these philosophies. My question was, why didn't the Lord, if the devotees of the Lord came as expansions to spread all these philosophies, why did the Lord just not start with Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and but then spread all these philosophies and then come after to spread Gaudiya Vaishnava?
Adhikar is necessary. It's not an easy thing to come to the very highest stage of love of Godhead from atheism, which is where India was before Shankaracharya, right? Buddhism is another atheistic, Gnostic philosophy. They didn't even accept the authority of the Vedas, and we've already defined atheism in that way. So, how are you going to teach spirituality to people whose dogma is anatman, no soul, no God, no soul, nothing spiritual at all. They don't believe in it. So, you're starting from scratch, really. And, so therefore you said Shankaracharya has to come to at least get people to have faith in the Vedas, and from that toehold, then, you can build on that. And that's exactly what Ramanujacharya did. He said, okay, Shankaracharya, yes, Advaita to hai, lekin you have non-dualism, that's fine, but you have to recognize there's distinction within that Advaita. How it's so, he didn't explain that. Madhvacharya was even more militant than him, because Madhvacharya is an incarnation of Hanuman. And how can Hanuman tolerate a situation in which there's no liberation? He himself, there's no bhakti, liberation. He himself said, this is intolerable punishment. I don't want that kind of liberation, where there's no distinction between master and servant. It makes bhakti impossible, and that's hell. So Madhvacharya was a hard dualist. He wouldn't compromise with anything. Nimbarkacharya came to a Beda. He saw that both sides have their validity. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the only one who explained how it's so, even if it's an inconceivable explanation. At least it's it reconciles. So you have to build on whatever adhikar is there. It's just like if you go to, let's say, I always pick on Indians who go to Las Vegas. You go to Las Vegas and you go into a nightclub that's just like going full blast, right? How are you going to preach to anybody in that environment? It's not very easy, you see? But you get somebody in a nice Hare Krishna festival in a peaceful place, and they give them prasadam, of course, that's the secret weapon, and then, hote, gradually you can say, introduce. So this is what it's like. That's why they didn't preach these things. They were preparing the way for Lord Chaitanya who is God after all, to give the coup de grace, which is Vraja Bhakti. Is that okay? Philosophically, Achintya Bheda Bheda is the mature synthesis of all the predecessor ideologies. And, from a devotional point of view, this Madhurya Rasa especially is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Braja Bhaktis. This is the topmost attainment, emotional attainment. But you have to prepare the ground a little bit. That's what they did. Is that okay? Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, this is a question out of curiosity. The two kinds of impersonalists, one is Sukadeva Goswami and Kumaras. So in the first case, Sukadeva Goswami was attracted by the pastimes of the Lord, and then he turned into a devotee. But in the second case, Kumaras, even though they heard about Lord Vishnu previously, until they came to the point of smelling the tulasi from the Lord's lotus feet, they were not turned into devotees. So I was just thinking, what was holding back Kumaras until that point? Even though they had Brahmaji, who is their father and who is a pure devotee.
Mercy. Mercy of the devotees is necessary. They got mercy from Tulasi Devi, right? Krishna Bhakti Prada Devi. So, when they got Tulasi Rani's mercy, then they could understand. Imperceptibly. It was not a rational process at all. They smelled Tulsi, sometimes it's like this. Devotees, they first came and they just by seeing Prabhupada, they just burst into tears and paid full dandavat obeisances and said, "This is my eternal spiritual master." How do you explain that? It's not possible. So, but some mercy descends like this. And they got that mercy, very special mercy. Even great souls, but, not all these great souls are necessarily Vaishnavas. It takes kripa. It's not a question of karma adhikar, even jnana adhikar. It takes kripa only, and the kripa of devotees. So they got mercy from Tulasi. That's my answer for the moment. If I think of a better one, I'll tell you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for a wonderful class.
Akashvani.
Thank you. I have a question, Prabhu. Can we pray like in Vrindavan and Vallabhacharya Pushti Marga, they pray Laddu Gopal, and we do it only during Damodar month. So
that's not true. I do it every day.
Oh, we can do that every day, like pray just like Pushti Marg, like Seva and like Laddu Gopal every day. We can do that.
Varam deva namoksham namokshavadhim vana chanyam vraneham viresharapiha. Idam teva purnata gopala balam sada me manasi avirastam kamanyai. Which part do you not understand? Sada means always. Why not? Even commentators on the Damodar Ashtaka, they also say, you don't have to wait for Kartik to sing this. You can sing it every day. Why not? There are 5 rasas. Any one of them you can cultivate. And we see examples in Chaitanya Leela as well. That Brahmin who came to visit, was he a Brahmin astrologer? He was traveling and visited Jagannath Mishra's house. He was worshipping Balagopal. Jagannath Mishra himself is worshipping Balagopal. He's not a Gaudiya Vaishnava. So this is a misconception. People say like that.
Thank you so much, because some devotees said because we are Gaudiya Vaishnava, we only do Radha at the God level, not like that's sahaji or like not spontaneous love.
No,
or
you cannot. Well, that's another matter. Sahajiya, that's something to be examined. But No, you cannot say that it's exclusive like that. I'm not reading that in Prabhupada's books. I just don't see it. And
Thank you so much. Really.
so, yeah, I mean, the main thing, we should say, the main thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give definitely is Madhurya Rasa. That is a fact. And it's so emphasized that, this misconception is possible. But, it's a wrong conception to think that the only rasa is Madhurya Rasa and that we're only worshipping Radha Krishna. Prabhupada himself is worshipping Krishna Balaram. So what is greater evidence than that? There are 5 rasas. And Narayan Maharaj introduced this, misconception to a large degree in ISKCON, that, because he was very exclusive in that way. That's okay, that's his mood. He has a right. But, worshipping in Vatsalya Bhav is fine. Worshipping in Sakhya Bhav is also fine. Dasya Bhav, no problem at all. There's absolutely no problem with Dasya Bhav. Some people say there is a problem with Shanta Bhav because you don't do anything. So that's a problem. But, Dasya is the beginning of bhakti, and actually Dasya is the most important rasa because it permeates all the others. Even if you're in Madhurya Rasa, what is your Paramagati? What is it? Radha Dasyam. Dasya. Therefore, the most important members of society are Shudras. If you don't have an example of what it means to be a Shudra, how are you going to become a Dasa? Very, very important things to consider. That's why Prabhupada is pushing on Varnashram Dharma. If you don't have Varnashram, you cannot have a healthy variegatedness. It will be perverted. Now the big thing is not even equality anymore. Now it's equity. The envy has come a little stronger. But yeah, anyway, that's another matter. Any other questions?
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Any other questions? No. So then it's time for prasadam. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, sorry, I missed you. Yeah. You want to say something?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu and Mataji. Thank you for gracing us. It's such an honor to have you back every year, and we pray that this keeps happening more and more and more, never ending. We'd like to invite you to now grace us. We are going to have a presentation by the youth.
Okay.
And it'll be an honor. The topic of the presentation is Brajamandal Parikrama.
Okay.
So with that, we'd like to move on to that part of the presentation. Prabhu, you can take your seat there.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Glory to Prabhupada. ISV applause gives me time to shut down my computer. Okay.
His Grace Mukunda Prabhu ki.
Lord Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
One more mic or 2 more mics. Mics. One more.
So we've started a series from last week on Brajamandal Parikrama. So we started last week on an introduction that was given by Raghav. And the first of the 7 sacred forests that we are covering as part of this series, which is the Madhuvan. This week, we'll be covering the next 2 forests, on the western banks of the Yamuna, which is Talavan and Kumudvan. So the students from the Kaishura class, from the ages 12 to 14, have prepared on this, and we'll look forward to sharing with you what they've learned.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today, we'll be talking about one of the sacred forests of Vrindavan, Talavan, by Athind,
Nitai, Vedant.
And unfortunately, Mukunda was not able to make it as he was out of town. Talavan is home to many sweet pastimes of Lord Krishna. Its extensive land is filled with tala trees, beautiful lakes, and dense darba grass. It brings relief to anyone who steps foot on the forest floor. Let us dive deeper into Talavan forest.
First, I'm going to start with the introduction, which is an invocation offering our respects to Talavan Forest. Then, Ajit will go into all the details all about Talavan Forest, and then we'll go into some of the pastimes that took place in Talavan Forest. With Nitai going over one of the most prominent pastimes, being the killing of Dhenukasura, and me and Ajit to go into some more smaller yet beautiful pastimes that also took place in the forest. Finally, to review all the points we've covered in this presentation, I'll be going over the conclusion. Here's the introduction. Let us say this verse from the Raja Bhakti Vilasa 9.70, offering our respects to Talavan Forest. Mokshaya Mukti Rupaya Hari Mukti Pradayine Namastalaya Ramyaya Talashoba Vivardine. O Talavan, O Moksha, I offer my respects to you. You are made by the demon Tal. You're decorated with many different Tala trees and lakes. O Talavan, you're able to give darshan of Lord Hari. Please accept my prayers.
Now, I'll be talking about the second part of the presentation, some details and facts about Talavan. Talavan is one of the 12 many sacred forests located deeply inside of Vrindavan, where Krishna incarnated 5,000 years ago. Srila Narayana Bhatta Goswami mentions that Talavan represents the Lord's chest out of all the body limbs. Another point Srila Jiva Goswami states is that bathing in the lakes of Talavan helps with all spiritual desires to be fulfilled, assures one's complete success in any undertaking path they choose. In the Sri Harivamsa Purana, it states, the land in Talavan forest is even, smooth, and very extensive. The earth is black, densely covered with darba grass, and devoid of stones and pebbles. By this, the cowherd boys would always want to visit this forest and play in it, because how relieving it is to step on the dusty and sandy ground with the predominance of palm trees, along with the clear, appealing lakes with blue lotuses, the only sacred forest with so. Finally, Talavan is located 1 yojana, 8 miles from Mathura.
Now we're going to delve deep into a few pastimes that happen in Talavan. First, I'm going to talk about the most prominent one, which is the killing of Dhenukasura. Then, Atyant and Vedant will talk about a couple more subtle yet beautiful pastimes that also happen. The killing of Dhenukasura is a particularly special pastime because Dhenukasura is the first demon Balaram killed. Jiva Goswami states that there's a palm tree commemorating this pastime on Balaram's right foot. The pastime goes like this. One day, all the boys went to Mahavan, which is another sacred forest. After playing around and having fun, they got tired and addressed Balaram with this verse. Rama Rama Mahabaho Krishna Dushta Nibarhana Ito Vedure Sumahad Vanam Talali Sankulam. The cowherd boys said, O Rama, Rama, mighty armed one, O Krishna, destroyer of the miscreants, not far from here is a very great forest filled with rows of palm trees. Here, in this verse, the boys say Rama Rama Mahabaho, which is referencing Balaram. Usually, Krishna is addressed first by devotees, but over here, Balaram is interestingly addressed first. After saying this, the boys After saying this, the boys went to the forest, and Krishna and Balaram assured them that they're going to be all right. Once they reached the forest, Balaram shook the trees, and all the fruits fell down. The sound of so many fruits falling woke up the demon Dhenukasura. Dhenukasura then charged at Balaram, and the cowherd boys became afraid for him, nudging Krishna to help him. For some context, in his previous life, Dhenuka was known as Sahasika, who was the son of Bali Maharaj. One time, Sahasika went to the Gandhamadana mountain to enjoy with beautiful girls. In this process, he accidentally disturbed Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni cursed him to be a donkey. Sahasika pleaded with the Muni, and eventually Durvasa lightened the curse and explained how Krishna and Balaram will deliver him from his donkey form. So back to the pastime. When Dhenukasura charged at Balaram, Balaram grabbed the demon by his back hooves and threw him into a tala tree. Dhenukasura rose to attack again, but Balaram threw the demon 1 yojana away. Eventually, after lots of fighting from Krishna and Balaram against Dhenuka and his associates, Balaram finally threw the demon hard into a tree, finishing him. Dhenukasura then transformed into a beautiful being, and a Vaikuntha chariot took him back to Godhead. Overall, this pastime shows how Dhenukasura represents ignorance of knowledge through gross materialistic intelligence and animal-like foolishness. And Balaram, who is the Adi Guru, vanquishes this ignorance. Also, the reason Krishna didn't kill Dhenukasura was because Krishna made a promise to Prahlad Maharaj that he would not harm any of his descendants.
After killing Dhenukasura to celebrate, the cowherd boys were sitting on the soft grass and opening their lunch bags. They were all staring at Krishna, hoping that Krishna would look back at them and say something. The cowherd boys made different types of plates to distribute prasadam. They made plates out of rocks, flowers, barks of trees, and bunches of leaves. With these sort of preparations and arrangements, the cowherd boys shared the prasadam amongst each other. Finally, Krishna sits amongst the cowherd boys in a unique style, with his flute tucked into the right of his sash and his buffalo horn and cow driving stick tucked into the left side of his dhoti.
A very similar pastime to what Atanya just said that also takes place in Talavan forest is the pastime of Krishna and the thief. When Krishna and his cowherd friends would go play in Talavan's forest, Krishna's mother would make Krishna yummy puri, halva, kachori, laddu, and various other filling prasadam, while all the other cowherd boys' parents just made them basic chapati, rice, and sabji. After an exhausting day of playing in Talavan forest, the cowherd boys would stop to eat some rice. It's at this time that one of the cowherd boys would take Krishna's lunchbox and start tossing it around to the other cowherd boys, playing a game similar to Monkey in the Middle. At last, Krishna would get his lunchbox back, and all the cowherd boys, including Krishna, would sit in a circle, with Krishna being in the middle. Krishna would then open his lunchbox and share his mother's delicious prasadam to all the cowherd boys around him, thus ending this beautiful pastime. Now, we'll head into the conclusion. So, we first went over a verse from the Raja Bhakti Vilasa 9.70, offering our respects to Talavan forest. After that, Atin went into all the details of Talavan forest, including how it was 5,000 years old, very beautiful and vibrant, free from stones and pebbles, and covered in soft darba grass. After that, we went to some pastimes that took place in Talavan forest, with Nitai going over one of the most prominent pastimes, being the killing of Dhenukasura, and how Balaram killed Dhenukasura and his comrades by swinging them and throwing them into various tala trees around the forest. Finally, me and Atin went into some more subtle yet beautiful pastimes that also took place in the forest.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We would like to credit the Sacred Forests of Vrindavan book by His Holiness Indradumna Swami, Her Grace Raseshwari Leela Devi Dasi, and the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust for some of the pictures used in this presentation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We'll now go over right into the next forest, Kumudvan, and after that we'll take questions for both the presentations. So we'll just, if you can pass it, and we can have The students for Kumudvan, please come. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Our presentation is on Kumudvan, one of the sacred forests of Vrindavan. My name is Arshia. My name is Aditi.
We don't hear your names.
What is Kumudvan? Kumudvan is a forest named after the word Kumuda, lotus, and Van, forest. It is described as the smallest forest in Vrajamandala, and it is also famous for its white night blooming lotuses.
It was a verdant green forest, home to many creatures, animals, and lotuses. However, eventually it disappeared, leaving only a small village behind. If we had spiritual eyes, we could see the full significance of Kumudvan, which is everlasting.
So occasionally Krishna would bring the cows with the cowherd boys to the pond to graze and drink the water. While the cows were wandering, the boys adorned each other with garlands made of the kumudini flowers. Sometimes Krishna hid from his sakhas and sported in the waters with Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, and other Priya Narma sakhis.
Famous for its white night blooming lotuses, the white flowers resemble the smile of autumn and the complexion of Lord Balarama. Instead of sunlight, moonlight causes these night blooming lotuses to open.
A beautiful verse shows how the gopis inquire from Uddhava. Taha kim smarati tata priya piravita vrindavane kumudakunda. Summary. The gopis often asked about Krishna to Uddhava, and they asked if he still remembered the beautiful pastimes that they spent with him.
So, Kumudvan is the home of Kapila Muni, and at the moment there's a deity of Kapila Muni which can be found on the banks of Kumudvan. Srila Narayana Bhatta Goswami says each section of Krishna's body represents one of the sacred forests of Vrindavan. Kumudvan represents Krishna's chest.
Madhavana Thala, Kumuda Gala, Dahanatana Smarti, Prima Vista Haila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the many sacred forests and often took his bath.
Conclusion. Kumudvan is a verdant forest of lotuses and the smallest forest of Vrajamandala. One of Krishna's pastimes in Kumudvan was playing in the water with the gopis and adorning the cowherd boys with lotus garlands. It's known for its white lotuses and it's home to Kapila Muni. Kumudvan represents Krishna's chest as all of Vrindavan is his body.
Hare Krishna, thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you so much to all of you for preparing well for this, and I'd like to open it for comments, blessings, questions. Yes, Prabhu.
Is Kumudvan on the eastern side of Yamuna River, or is it on the western side of the Yamuna River?
It's on the western side of...
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
What kind of tree is it? Tala tree? Date palms, yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful job actually by all of you. And I just wanted to, appreciate. I know this is a very busy time in school, with exams and all that, but you guys just still took time out and prepared for this, right? So very, very impressive job and well prepared and well presented. So thanks to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think just adding to that, even I enjoyed the themes of the presentations that were made, like with Talavan forest. There were a lot of trees, and Kumudvan. I like how you have put so much effort in also making the presentation. And for me, I really relished both the presentations. I felt it should not have stopped. So thank you for sharing those pastimes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for nice presentations. So I have a question to Nitai. So you mentioned that Krishna gave a word to Prahlad Maharaj saying that he will not kill the descendants of Prahlad Maharaj, right? I believe it is Narasimhadev, right? But all the Vishnu Tattva comes from Balaram also. Balaram, the first Chaturvyuha comes from Balaram, and then basically it can be seen as the origin of Narasimhadev can be Balaram also. How is the promise justified in that case?
Well, in my opinion, I feel like Narasimha is one of the direct avatars of Krishna, but like Balaram is in the avatars with Pradyumna, Sankarshana, and Krishna, and of course Balaram. And then that is like where Balaram comes from, and that's how Balaram is the Adi Guru. So I think that's how it's separated.
Prabhu, would you like to answer that question? So, Prabhu, would you like to repeat the question?
So, because Narasimhadev gave a word to Prahlad Maharaj saying that So there is a benediction from Narasimhadev to Prahlad Maharaj that he will not kill any of the descendants of Prahlad Maharaj. So Narasimhadev can be considered an expansion coming from Balaram also and Krishna also. But in the presentation, the explanation given was because Krishna gave the word, Balaram killed Dhenukasura, who is a descendant of Prahlad Maharaj. So that was my question. How is it justified that Balaram killing is?
Yeah, I'm still not clear about your question.
Yeah, so if Narasimhadev gave the word not to kill, right?
Not to kill Prahlad's descendants.
Yeah.
But Dhenukasura can be considered a descendant of Prahlad?
Yeah, that's how
because he's a Daitya.
Yes.
Okay, well, Krishna can do whatever he wants. And Krishna's older brother can especially do whatever he wants.
Yes, thank you, Hare Krishna.
And plus Krishna's, anyway, it's his pastimes. These things are not forever. Anything can happen anytime. The Lord is not bound.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Do we have? Oh, yes, Mataji.
So the 12 forests constitute Vrindavan, or Vrindavan is one of the 12 forests? I'm not sure.
So we've studied this in a class. Vrindavan is a small forest, but the whole thing is also called Vrindavan because it's called Brajamandal basically.
So the name Vrindavan can be interchangeably used as Brajamandal sometimes, but there is a specific forest as well. Among the 12 Mahavans inside Brajamandal, Parikrama, there are different forests. The most important one is Vrindavan, which will also be covered last in this series. So, Yeah, but sometimes Vrindavan represents, all of Rajamandal as well. It's interchangeably used.
Thank you.
Of all the 12 forests, which one is in the most pristine condition in the present times?
Pristine.
Pristine means untouched by humans or human civilization, where you can see if you go to that forest, you can still feel that you are still taken back in times 5,000 years ago.
I'm going to be honest, it's probably Talavan, because like the picture you saw on our conclusion slide, that was a picture of Talavan, and it looks like as that's how Krishna played there 5,000 years ago, in my opinion.
Thank you so much for those wonderful questions. And okay, we'd like to conclude here. Thank you so much to Arshia, Aditi, Parissa, Atyant, Nitai, Vedant, and Mukund, he's not here, for this excellent presentation. Like it was raised, it's a very important month for them. There's a lot of exams and tests going on in their school time, but they took the time out and prepared. So thank you so much. And we'll seek all your blessings, especially those who are coming directly from Rajamandal. Please bless the students as we continue to. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I've been told to make a short announcement. So His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is in a critical condition. So Hansapriya Mataji has just started to go and see him. He's in India in Dehradun. And we seek all the prayers at this time from the devotees. Please pray for Maharaj and let Krishna do as he desires. Let's pray that he can continue to demonstrate. Great Vaishnavas, they demonstrate by their example. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And we'd like to move on to now Guru Puja. So we will request everybody to stand up and move the asans to the corner of the room while we set up the space for Guru Puja.
this height is okay.
Oh, you can't go higher, no? Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. हाँ, ठीक रहेगा.
Yes, no, we'll just read those translations.
Okay.
No, start from the prayer. Yeah, these are.
Yeah, I'm just totally confused about this.
We just recite it together.
Okay.
Yeah, we just recite.
Beginning with this.
Beginning with this. Yes, we just all recite.
You better do this.
Yes. So we will begin with these prayers before the Guru Puja. Namashreshtam manam api sachiputram atra swarupam Shri Rupam tasya grajam urupurim maturim goshtavatim Radha kundam girivaram aho radhika madhavasam Prapto yasya pratita kripaya Shri Guru tam natosmi He Guru Jnana Dina Bandho Swananda Data Karunaika Sindho Vrindavana Sena Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dina Bandho Karunaika Sindho Kuru Prasada Maimanda Mode Laksha Parade Bahupapa Gade Tatpada Padme Sumatisha Krishne Naivo Payanti Arpichitam Brahma Yushapi Kritam Radam Yo Antar Bahisthanubhritam Ashubham Vidhanvan Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Vyanati. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudeva, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds and thousands of offenses. I have fallen to the dense merit of sins.
Stopped.
Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with a prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as a super soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his ocean, his grace, one can cross the ocean of suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opened our darkened eyes and fills our heart with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord Bharata bird. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
Shri Guru Cha Rana Padma Keval Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Keval Bhakti Sadma Bando Moi Savadhan Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachurani Acharya, Shtotra Shata Shri Srimad Srila Abhay Chandranaran Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's Guru Puja ki jai. Go Premanande.
Hare Krishna. We would like to thank His Grace Mukunda Prabhu for giving such a nice Srimad Bhagavatam class, emphasizing on the worship of the deity, performing devotional service. And this is higher than even liberation. Even without knowing it, we can attain. So please give a big round of applause to His Grace Mukunda Prabhu. And we would also like to thank our great Sri Murthy Mataji, who is also traveling, taking care of Prabhu's needs very carefully, and gracing us with her presence as well at ISV. And we will have announcements from any Bhakti community announcements that needs to be made. Anybody here? Okay. Looks like Bhakti community can be announced later, maybe online. Today we are continuing with our monthly Sankirtan festival for Lord Nrsingadev, and our goal is to distribute at least 30 Srimad Bhagavatam sets and to memorize Sri Prahlad prayers. Even if you cannot memorize the entire 51 up till 51 verse, but you can at least try or pick a few. The Lord sees your effort, so at least give it a try. We will have some session with His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu to recite them as a group. So please do that as well. And we have spots for book distribution today in different places. It's raining heavily, so I don't know from Western Sankirtan where we are going. Maybe Haldarupa Prabhu or Adinath Krishna Prabhu can announce the spots.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. As you can see, the weather is raining. It'll be off and on. It's projected. It won't stop us, but basically we'll look for ashraya, shelter. Generally speaking, the Indian stores and restaurants have some overhang, and therefore one will not need a canopy or tarp, anything like that. So the outside spots, most likely we'll cancel them, but although won't limit you if you want to do it. And then, yes, so Indian stores, ICC, Indian Cash and Carry, Chat Bhavan. There's a few others around this area. If you're feeling inspired today, it's the best time, because it's the time is always now, as they say. So if you're feeling inspired, myself, you can get in contact with me. You can get in contact with Malini Mataji also. She leads a very powerful team in Srimad Bhagavatam distribution. And their efforts are patient, I've observed, determined, and relentless, I've noticed. Yeah, so... I'll kindly finish with one Srila Prabhupada quote that Satya Sankalpa Prabhu posts every time he has the polls, which we encourage everyone to pick an option if you're considering it. That way we can be organized. Quote, one should engage in practical service to the Lord. In our Krishna consciousness movement, all our activities are concentrated upon distributing Krishna literature. This is very important. One may approach any person and induce him to read Krishna literature so that in the future he also may become a devotee. Such activities are recommended in this verse. Such activities will always remind the devotees of the Lord's lotus feet. By fully concentrating on distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is samadhi. Reference Srimad Bhagavatam 10:2-37. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to share one story that it's a follow-up from the previous story, but another one. Last week, Jamuna Mataji came for book distribution at the India Cash and Carry, and Adinath Krishna Prabhu was also there. And we were trying very hard to distribute Bhagavatam sets, and somehow or other people were very nice, but somehow not ready to take Srimad Bhagavatam. So while we were trying, we just placed all the sets, and one person just randomly walked in. We were trying for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, nobody was taking, but one person came by and he asked, "Where is Srimad Bhagavatam?" And we showed him, and he said, "Is it the full set?" And we said, "Yes." "How do you know about Bhagavatam?" "Oh, I've been studying Vedas." And he said, "How much?" And we told him. He came and picked up the Bhagavatam set in just 2 or 3 minutes. We didn't even have to talk to him. So it's not our endeavor which distributes the Bhagavatam. It's actually only by Krishna's mercy the books gets distributed. But all we have to do is try, and by our sincere attempt, Krishna somehow will be merciful on us and send someone who is ready to take Bhagavatam. So that was one story. Second one was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had one lady who took a Bhagavatam, and she said she will take one set for her Sanskrit teacher. So she came last week and she returned the set and said, "My Sanskrit teacher already has a Bhagavatam, so I'm sorry, I cannot accept it for her." And then she said, "I started the first canto. I almost finished the first canto, but she said that somehow this doesn't connect with me so very well because this English is very hard. Every time I read, I have to look up a dictionary to find out the meaning for that word because her first language is Telugu. She had all her education done in Telugu, and she said, "This is very hard for me, but I want to keep this because my children don't speak Telugu." And she asked, "Is it okay if I take a Telugu Bhagavatam set also?" So she picked up a Telugu Bhagavatam set last week, and she said, "I'm not going to take it for free, I will pay for it." So she picked up the Telugu. So she is very happy that it is in Telugu, in her mother tongue, and she's able to connect it very well. So even though the set got returned, she took another one in Telugu. So it was really, really encouraging. So please join us today in Cupertino for India Cash and Carry. It's raining, but there is a nice awning there, so you can stand under and distribute books. There will be one spot in Fremont or Milpitas and one in Tri-Valley for Bhagavatam sets as well. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay, we have our heroes returning from traveling Sankirtan, Krishna Sakha Prabhu and Kamalakshi Mataji. They, being a Grihastha couple, they just traveled in the van that we have at the temple. It's not very great, very, very austere, but they travel for 1 month visiting different universities in Washington, Oregon, Seattle, and many other places. And after 1 month, they are coming back this week to ISV. And I saw their scores, that they collected over $10,000 of Lakshmi as well. And one distinct point that they mentioned, which I also called out last week, is that in Bay Area, people are more in rajas more. So very hard to distribute and stop them and talk to them about it. But in some places which are a little bit more in the mode of goodness, the students were lining up to take a book while they were talking to other people. So it's also because of their sincerity as well that Krishna is sending all those wonderful souls. And Kamalakshi Mataji was distributing while Krishna Sakha Prabhu was working from home. Thank you so much, Kamalakshi Mataji, as well. Please, so today, if you have any plans of going out, please take some devotees with you. Hare Krishna. Today's prasadam was cooked by Koladipa Pran Prabhu and his team of devotees. I also saw Siddhakatha Prabhu in there. Hansa Priya Mataji was also there. Anybody else? And Shama Bhakta Prabhu was also there. So there's a big team of devotees. It's Ekadashi today. So Prabhu, would you like to lead some prasadam prayers, non-Ekadashi ones?
We say this one?
Yes, we say it, Prabhu.
Okay. Sharira Vidyajal Jodendriya Taheka Jive Phere Vishaya Sagare Dharmashe Jivaati Lobhamoy Sudurmati Taki Jithakvatin Sangsare Krishna Bala Doyamoy Paribare Jiva Joy Shaprasadam Nati Lobhai Shyam Namrata Pao Radha Krishna Gunarao Premrako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasad Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate Prasade Sarva Dukkhana Hanirasyopajayate Prasanna Chetaso Hyasho Buddhi Paryavatishtate Prayoga Bhukta Sraggantha Vasu Alankara Charchitaha Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Shushkam Parijashitam Vapi Nitam Vaturadeshataha Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam Natra Kala Vicharana Nadesha Niyamastatra Nakala Niyamastatha Praptam Mannam Drutam Shishtai Bhoktavyam Harira Pravit Badhapidam Natavara Bhavukaranyo Kanikaram Bipradvasak Kanakakapisham Vyarjiyantim Shamalam Randhram Venodadhasudhaya Purayan Gopa Vrindair Vrindaranyam Swapadaranaman Ramanam Pravisharkita Kirtihi Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam
कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। महाप्रसादम की जय। हरे कृष्ण।